Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to explore one of Earth's most incredible ecosystems, the tropical rainforest. This is the first slide of our presentation, titled The Tropical Rainforest, and it's part of our lesson on ecosystems in Unit 1. Over the next few slides, we'll take a closer look at what makes these rainforests so rich and vital to our planet. So let's get started and discover the wonders of the tropical rainforest together. Where are rainforests located? Well, all rainforests are found near the equator, which is an imaginary line that runs around the middle of the Earth, dividing it into the northern and southern hemispheres. This region has the perfect climate for rainforests to thrive. You'll find rainforests in parts of South America, Africa, Asia, and even Australia. The Amazon rainforest, which is in Brazil, is actually the largest rainforest in the world. It covers a huge area and is incredibly rich in biodiversity. Now, for our class activity, we're going to look at a world map and mark the locations of these major rainforests. We'll identify which countries they're in and think about why rainforests are typically found near the equator. It's because of the warm temperatures and high rainfall, which create ideal conditions for these lush, vibrant ecosystems. The tropical climate is fascinating because the sun constantly shines on the equator all year round, which keeps temperatures remarkably steady. Unlike regions that experience distinct seasons, tropical areas don't have the traditional winter, spring, summer, or fall. Instead, temperatures typically stay between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius, or about 77 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, throughout the entire year. Now, when it comes to rainfall, it's a bit more variable. We see two main seasons, the wet season and the dry season. During the wet season, heavy daily rainfall is quite common, which supports lush vegetation and abundant wildlife. Then, in the dry season, rainfall becomes less frequent and lighter, but it doesn't stop altogether. There's still some rain, just not as much as during the wet months. Looking specifically at the Amazon rainforest, the average monthly rainfall and temperature showcase this pattern beautifully, illustrating how these consistent conditions sustain one of the most diverse ecosystems on Earth. This tropical climate is really the backbone of the rainforest's incredible biodiversity. Rainforests are often called the lungs of the world because their trees and plants play a crucial role in producing oxygen, which we all need to breathe. Through a process called photosynthesis, rainforest plants absorb carbon dioxide, or CO2, from the air. At the same time, they release oxygen, or O2, back into the atmosphere. This process helps maintain the balance of Earth's air, making rainforests vital for our planet's health. In fact, the Amazon rainforest alone provides more than 20% of the world's oxygen supply. That's a huge contribution coming from just one rainforest. Now, for our class activity, I want you to work in small groups. Your task is to create a diagram that shows how rainforests contribute to the oxygen cycle. Be sure to include the process of photosynthesis and explain why rainforests are so important for keeping our air clean and healthy. This will help us understand just how interconnected and essential these ecosystems are for our survival. Let's take a closer look at the layers of the rainforest. Tropical rainforests are actually organized into 4 distinct layers, each with its own unique vegetation, climate, and wildlife. First, we have the emergent layer. This is the very top of the forest, where the tallest trees rise above everything else, reaching for the sunlight. It's a kind of aerial world, home to birds, insects, and some of the most impressive plants. Next is the canopy layer, which is often considered the busiest part of the rainforest. Most animals, from monkeys to colorful insects, spend their time here. It's like a lush, green ceiling filled with life, offering shelter and food for countless species. Below that is the understory layer. This area is darker and more humid because it receives limited sunlight. The plants here are adapted to thrive in low light, and many insects, snakes, and small mammals find their home in this shadowy environment. Finally, we reach the forest floor. Interestingly, only about 2% of sunlight makes it down to this level. It's a relatively dark and damp space, but it's essential for nutrient cycling. Decomposing leaves and animals return vital nutrients to the soil, supporting the entire ecosystem. Each of these layers is vital because they host different plants and animals that have evolved specifically to survive in their particular environment. This layered structure is what makes the rainforest such an incredibly diverse and complex ecosystem, perfectly aligned with our overall theme of biodiversity and adaptation. Let's take a closer look at the emergent and canopy layers of the rainforest. The emergent layer is actually the highest part of the rainforest, where only a few tall trees rise above the rest of the canopy. These trees can reach heights similar to skyscrapers, with long, thin trunks and umbrella-shaped tops that help them catch the sunlight. Their thick, waxy leaves are specially adapted to withstand strong winds and intense heat up here. You'll find animals like eagles, macaws, and parrots living in this topmost layer, taking advantage of the vantage point and open space. Moving down to the canopy layer, this is actually the busiest part of the rainforest. Most of the animals, birds, and insects live here because it's rich with food and shelter. Trees in this layer can grow up to about 35 meters high, and their umbrella-shaped tops shield the layers below from direct sunlight. The canopy also plays a crucial role in protecting the soil from erosion by slowing down heavy rainfall. Some animals you might find here include cockatoos, toucans, sloths, and woolly monkeys, many of which depend on this dense, vibrant environment for food and safety. Now, think about this. Why do you think most animals in the rainforest prefer to live in the canopy layer? It's mainly because the canopy offers the best resources, food, shelter, and safety from many predators. It's truly the heart of the rainforest ecosystem. Now, let's take a closer look at the understory and forest floor layers of the rainforest. The understory layer is a dark, humid zone where trees can grow up to 20 meters tall, but they don't quite reach the canopy above. Because sunlight is so limited here, the leaves are usually large. This helps them capture as much of that scarce light as possible. Interestingly, many common houseplants originate from this layer because they're adapted to thrive in low-light conditions. In terms of wildlife, you'll find birds, butterflies, frogs, and snakes making their homes in the understory. These animals have adapted to the shaded, humid environment, often hiding among the thick foliage. Moving down to the forest floor, this layer is even darker and more humid. Only about 2% of sunlight filters down here, so plants and shrubs are specially adapted to survive in such low light. The forest floor is a hub of activity for decomposition. Dead plant material breaks down quickly, enriching the soil with vital nutrients that support new plant growth. The animals that inhabit this layer include anacondas, scorpions, army ants, turtles, and jaguars. Many of these creatures are adapted to the dark, humid environment, often hunting or hiding among the fallen leaves and decaying matter. As part of our class activity, I'd like you to work in small groups to create a Venn diagram comparing the understory and forest floor. Think about the similarities and differences, such as light levels, types of plants, animals, and how each layer's inhabitants have adapted to their environment. This will help us better understand how each layer plays a unique role in the rainforest ecosystem. Now, let's talk about how animals in the rainforest use clever strategies to survive. One key adaptation is camouflage. For example, animals like moths and monkeys can blend into their surroundings. Their colors and patterns match leaves, bark, or even the shadows of the forest, helping them avoid predators. Another fascinating adaptation is warning colors. Some animals, such as poison dart frogs, have bright, vibrant colors. These colors serve as a warning to predators that they are toxic or dangerous. It's like a built-in alarm system to keep potential threats at bay. And now, for our class activity, you're going to work in small groups to design your own rainforest animal. Decide whether it will use camouflage or warning colors. Then, draw your animal and explain how its specific adaptations help it survive in the rainforest environment. This is a great way to see how these strategies work in real life. All right, let's dive into our class activity on the rainforest layers. This is a group activity, so I want you to explore the 4 main layers of the rainforest and what makes each one unique. First, form groups of 3 to 4 students, perfect for collaboration. Each group will get a large sheet of paper with an outline of the rainforest layers. Your job is to label each of these 4 layers: the emergent layer, the canopy layer, the understory layer, and the forest floor. Next, for each layer, you'll need to write down some key facts. Think about the light levels, humidity, and how tall each layer is. Then, identify at least 2 plants and 2 animals that live in that layer. Also, highlight one special adaptation, something unique that helps the plant or animal survive in that particular environment. Once you've filled in all this information, you'll present your completed diagram to the class. It's a great way to share what you've learned and see how these layers connect. For an extension challenge, try creating a food chain that links animals from at least 3 different layers. Explain how energy flows from one organism to another, giving you a deeper understanding of the rainforest's interconnected web of life. This activity not only helps you learn about the layers, but also shows how complex and fascinating rainforest ecosystems truly are. All right, it's quiz time. Let's see how much you remember about the tropical rainforest. First question: what makes the tropical rainforest one of the richest ecosystems? Is it A, because it has the tallest trees in the world? Or B, because it is home to over half of the world's species? Or C, because it has no seasons? Or D, because it produces fruit for all animals? Think about it. What do you believe is the main reason? Moving on to question 2. Where are rainforests mainly located? Are they near the North and South Poles? Or closer to the equator? Maybe in dry desert regions? Or near large cities? Remember, rainforests thrive in warm, humid areas, which usually means near the equator. Question 3. The Amazon rainforest is the largest rainforest in the world. Is that true or false? This is a key point because the Amazon is often called the lungs of the earth due to its vast size and importance. And finally, question 4. Does the forest floor get a lot of sunlight? Is that true or false? This is interesting because, even though sunlight is abundant at the top, the dense canopy blocks much of it from reaching the ground. Click on your answers now, and your teacher will reveal which ones are correct. Great job participating. Learning about these facts helps us understand just how vital rainforests are to our planet. Let's take a moment to think critically about the importance of rainforests and why their conservation matters so much. Rainforests play a crucial role in maintaining the health of our planet. They help regulate the climate, support a vast diversity of life, and are a key source of oxygen. Protecting them is essential for sustaining life as we know it. Now, how exactly does the rainforest help the planet? Well, they act as the Earth's lungs by absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. They also influence weather patterns and provide habitat for countless species. Have you ever wondered why the tropical rainforest has no distinct seasons? Because of its location near the equator, the climate stays warm and humid year-round. This consistent environment allows plants and animals to thrive without the seasonal changes we see in other regions, which means many species have adapted to survive in a stable, year-round climate. Think about what might happen if all the animals from one layer of the rainforest suddenly disappeared. Each layer has a specific role, and losing animals from one layer could disrupt the entire ecosystem, affecting food chains, plant growth, and even the health of the forest itself. Let's also consider how animal adaptations like camouflage and warning colors help with survival. Camouflage helps animals hide from predators, making it easier for them to stay safe. Warning colors, on the other hand, often signal that an animal is toxic or dangerous, deterring potential threats. These adaptations are vital for the survival of many species. Finally, what makes the forest floor different from other layers? The forest floor receives very little sunlight, so it's a dark, damp environment. Decomposition is especially important here because it recycles nutrients back into the soil, supporting new plant growth. Without this process, the entire ecosystem could suffer from nutrient depletion. Remember, protecting rainforests is about more than just saving trees. It's about preserving biodiversity and ensuring the planet continues to produce oxygen for us all. When we discuss these questions, I encourage you to listen carefully to others' ideas, take turns speaking, and build on each other's thoughts. Keep in mind, there are often multiple correct answers, and exploring different perspectives enriches our understanding. Now, let's review some important vocabulary related to the rainforest layers. First, we have the emergent layer. This is the highest part of the rainforest, where the tallest trees rise above the canopy. The trees here can reach heights comparable to skyscrapers. You might imagine eagles and macaws flying around in this layer, taking advantage of the open space above the canopy. Next, the canopy itself is a dense roof of trees that covers most of the rainforest floor. It's home to many animals, birds, and insects. The canopy also plays a crucial role in protecting the soil from erosion by slowing down heavy rainfall, helping to keep the ecosystem balanced. Below the canopy is the understory. This layer is darker and more humid. Trees here grow up to about 20 meters tall but don't quite reach the canopy. Plants in this layer have large leaves to make the most of the limited sunlight that filters through. Many houseplants you might see at home actually originate from this understory layer. Finally, we have decomposers. These are organisms like fungi, bacteria, and insects that break down dead plant and animal material. Their work enriches the soil with nutrients, which helps new plants grow and keeps the rainforest thriving. To make learning fun, we're going to play a vocabulary game called Rainforest Charades. In teams, you'll act out one of these terms without speaking. The other students will try to guess which part of the rainforest you're demonstrating. Be creative with your actions. This is a great way to reinforce what we've learned today.